Well, this is definitely something that I was not expecting to do. Hi. This is definitely a little bit different. For starters, there's a video here that's relatively new. For the most part, I have used this channel to make vlogs basically throughout my college career. But then I graduated college and then I moved and then I started grad school and then I went through an earth-shattering breakup. So the YouTube channel kind of went on the back burner for a little bit. But I really love making content. Believe it or not, people pay me to make content for them. So it's something that I've always wanted to do. And now that I am about to enter summer vacation for my second year in grad school, I'm gonna have a lot more time. Obviously, because I don't have friends. Now that I'm feeling a lot better, don't have a camera. I'm using my iPhone, full transparency, keeping it real. I will be getting one, but I was kind of too excited and I decided to start. If you don't know me, then you should know that the main part of my personality is that I love cartoons. I watch, I would argue, more forms of media that are meant for children than I do for actual adults. And it is all because of nostalgia and feeling safe, because I am scared all the time. But anyway, I digress. The plot point of this video. I watched, I would say, a fair share of cartoons. Some that are famously notable, although I must confess, while I still consider myself a cartoon professional, I never watched Avatar: The Last Airbender. You're gonna find out why, though. There's a reason why. Upon conversing as an adult with other fellow adults who were around my age outside of my siblings, I found a very interesting dilemma, which was when attempting to connect over mutual loves of cartoons, I found out that many of the shows that I watched, people had no fucking idea what I was talking about. And it drove me crazy. It's not so much that, I kind of liked these shows when I was a kid. Saturday morning cartoons were no fucking joke in my household. My siblings and I would be barreling down the stairs to get to the TV to watch the shows that I'm going to tell you about. And the fact that there's that mutual experience of cartoons and watching cable cartoons, and yet I have that missing link of these fucking people don't know what they missed. So I am attempting to rectify that while also begging to be proven wrong. If you have seen any of these shows or know what I'm talking about, please tell me. So yeah, I really hope that you enjoy and are enthusiastic to come with me on this journey, because it's gonna be great and it's gonna get heated. So buckle up, get a tea. So basically how I have decided that I'm going to present these stupendous cartoons is I'm going to say the title, go over the plot, and basically explain why I liked each show as a child, which will then reflect on why I'm truly baffled that they didn't get any more attention. I figured it would be the most appropriate to kind of dive into the origin of the majority of these shows. I feel like that doesn't make any sense. Basically, when I was a wee tot in the year of 2002 to 2010, there was a channel called Jetix.
Jetix!
Jetix essentially was a children's entertainment brand. They were a branch of Disney. Me being a sucker for action and adventure and romance, I ate Jetix up. It's where I was introduced to pretty much all of the Power Rangers. Kim Possible aired on Jetix at one point, I think. American Dragon Jake Long. There's cat hair in my tear ducts. The majority of the shows that I'm going to talk about aired on Jetix. And then in 2010, Jetix shut down, stopped. It transformed into Disney XD, which essentially was basically like trying to combine the adventure boyishness that Jetix had. I think it was like trying to give boys a more multi-dimensional channel. Jetix was realistically pretty much only dedicated towards action and adventure shows, whereas Disney XD had like comedy. It just wasn't as good. It also was a devastating truth that I'm pretty sure none of the shows that I watched on Jetix were transferred to Disney XD. So this was the beginning of all the shows that I loved disappearing, which is also a mystery in itself because Jetix was owned by the Walt Disney Company, and I know you fuckers know about Disney. Just was a kind of strange dichotomy at how like this like action and adventure television channel just got so buried, as well as all the content that it had. But anyway, enough background information, enough talk. Let's dive in to these Gabe the Babe classics. I really wanted to come up with a better like descriptor than that, but it's 8 p.m. and I worked a 9-hour shift, so Gabe the Babe classics is what you're getting. Okay, the first show. Are you ready? I'm so excited to talk about this. Dragon Booster. When that like orchestral like da 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 came on the TV, I fucking lost my I'm reading the plot on Wikipedia. So that's just a full confession. The story takes place on the world of Draconis, where 2,000 years ago, a huge dragon-human war erupted. The golden dragon of legend chooses a human rider, the Dragon Booster, to bring peace and show that dragons and humans can coexist. In the present day, Connor Penn breeds back into existence one last gold dragon of legend, Bo. Bo chooses a stable boy, Arthur Penn. Are you sensing a theme, perchance, or an allusion to a particular myth? I didn't think so either. It's an original story. Arthur seeks to protect the world from the impending dragon-human war by defeating villains such as Mordred Payne and his father, Word. I didn't really realize at the time that Mordred's daddy is called Word. So his full name is Word Payne, which now that I'm saying it out loud is kind of hard. Basically, it takes place in this like ultra futuristic and urbanized city. There's like a lot of these like dragon competitions. Arthur is like kind of an amateur racer, and then Bo is like Bo's secret identity is he's red and blue, and then he like mutates into the gold dragon. It had a very like superhero structure, if that makes sense. Like there was like a 50-50 split of Arthur being a teenager and wanting to be a good racer and having a crush on a girl and wanting to impress her, and then being the Dragon Booster. I also, like, as a writer and creator, I guess, really like kind of like approaching the legend of King Arthur from an opposite like timeline. Like the legend of King Arthur is medieval, and they loosely go over the legend of King Arthur, but in this like super futuristic and urbanized city, yet we're also blending like fantasy into it too. And yeah, I'm sure that's been done before, but this show was made in 2004. So the reasons why I liked the show. Artha was hot. I know that I was 5 years old when this show was airing, but I was a horn dog. I am kind of... I believe the entire series is available to stream on Tubi for free. So if you want to check it out, you totally should. I don't really remember if it holds up. I have a very big feeling that it will. I have a feeling Arthur will still be hot. I shouldn't say that, should I? Because he's like 16. To be fair, I was 5 when I was watching that. So I don't think there's a way that I can make this okay. Show number 2. This also aired on Jetix. Get Ed. When my brother and I talk about this show, we just always talk about the theme. And we're like, Ed, get down. It was a hard theme. It was very difficult not to get excited about this show. Even though it wasn't as near and dear to my heart as Dragon Booster. I remember Dragon Booster aired on the mornings and Get Ed aired usually in the evening. We would like watch an episode of Power Rangers and then Jetix would be like, next, Get Ed. And we would freak out because it was a really good show. I'm reading you the plot now. Get Ed is about a genetically engineered teenage delivery boy who fights industrial crime in the city called Progress City. Okay. It doesn't sound very good, but I swear to God, this show hit so hard. In the series, Ed is... Trixie and Katya are emailing me. Ed is an electrogenetically enhanced teen who works for Dojo Deliveries, a courier service in the futuristic Progress City. Ed uses his cyber sleuthing skills to thwart identity theft and other information-based crimes. He and his courier pals Burn, Dietz, Fizz, and Loogie, accompanied by his puppet, Dr. Pinch. I'm starting to be really surprised as to how this show even got picked up. Along with their friend and mentor, Old School, damn it, must battle the ultimate evil, Simon Bedlam, an industrialist who has taken over a significant portion of Progress City, employing, stealing, or outright destroying his competitors. So, basically, Simon Bedlam wants to be... Jeff Bezos. Didn't realize until now that they were a delivery service. I thought they were like genuine crime fighters. But I don't know. That's kind of cool, right? Also, each member of the team had a distinct personality. They had a cool gadget. And I also thought Ed was hot. Sorry. I think Dietz is the girl that Ed has a crush on. He's, actively in love with her. I think, the majority of the series. He's, always trying to either impress Dietz or get her attention. What if her name isn't Dietz? No, it is. Wait. Her name is Dietz. My cat is licking her stomach. What starts off, kind of one-sided, becomes more reciprocal. Stop! Again, I have not watched this show particularly recently, so I don't really know if it's held up. Reading the description, I have a few concerns, but I loved it when I was a kid. A quick sip of water before we continue. Show number 3. That was so loud, sorry. Chaotic. We are branching out. We are leaving the Jetix universe. I think we're going on a day trip and then we'll inevitably come back. And we are entering 4Kids TV. 4Kids TV was a non-Disney Jetix, basically. Only it was definitely a lot less gendered. They had Winx Club, they had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they had Chaotic. Chaotic tells the tale of a teenage boy named Tom and his friend Kaz. They both play the Chaotic trading card / online game. Kaz always tries to tell Tom about a secret code to play for real, which Tom refuses to believe.
Tom, Chaotic is a real place. You can get into the game, and when you do, it's incredible. You're incredible.
While playing online, Tom receives the special password. When he enters the password into his game scanner, he is transported to a place called Chaotic that is able to take him to another world where the characters, locations, and items in the card game came to life. There are two parts of the Chaotic world: Chaotic itself and Param. Chaotic is where the people play an advanced version of the card / online game. The second part is Param. In Param, the creatures, locations, and items, all from the game, are real. Players from the Chaotic game can teleport into Param and scan the locations, creatures, and items with their scanners, gaining the ability to use them in their games. What a concept, okay? The reason why I loved this show as a child was because I thought Tom was hot. This is what I mean, is like, good God. In all seriousness, though, I was in love with this show because of the fact that I was into video games myself, and the idea of being able to turn into a video game character. The video game is brought to life, and you get to, like, shoot shit out of your hands and, like, actually fight in real life, but it's a game, is insane. Is so cool. I wanted Chaotic to be real so badly. They, I believe, made a PlayStation 3 video game called Chaotic that was like, it was like the show in game form. Oh my god, my nose. The game the like PlayStation game, I remember being really, really fun. I think my brother and I got it like a couple years after like 4 Kids also inevitably disappeared. What's that about? Chaotic also had a really interesting cautionary tale aspect to it, because while the concept of a game brought to life is fucking dope, it also like warns viewers that it's not without consequences. When you're in Chaotic, the game comes to life, and yes, when you lose, you don't actually die. Like, sure, you might like drop down a ranking, but in terms of like, you know, actual harm, you're fine. But in order to level up or become more powerful or access resources that help you become a better player, you have to go into Param and get those materials yourself. Param, where the creatures are real, the materials are real, and the consistently changing climates and habitats are very, very real. So there were a couple of episodes of like teenagers getting stuck in Param or getting kidnapped by like bounty hunters or like actually getting hurt. It did a really good job of like being realistic about like the dangers of a game come to life. So yeah, it just raises like interesting questions about how far are you willing to go to become more powerful. I watched a few episodes, I think like a year ago, because I was so excited that I found it, because I had actually forgotten about Chaotic for a while. It's a kid's show, so it's got some of its classic like cliches, if that makes sense, like some like cheesiness. It doesn't age with the flawless Cabernet Sauvignon wine quality of like Teen Titans, but like it was still an enjoyable watch. And like I said, the themes that I kind of touched upon that are present throughout the show, you're obviously going to pick up with more ease as an adult, and I feel like have appreciation for like the nuanced way it was presented to tots. It is similarly to Dragon Booster, which I didn't know was available, and now I'm gonna go watch it. Chaotic is available to stream in its entirety for free on Tubi if you want to watch it.
Let's get chaotic.
Okay, swiftly diving right back into jetix. As I stated before, I did not watch Avatar: The Last Airbender. I have never seen Avatar: The Last Airbender. And this may anger some people, but as I said prior, it is because I had my own elemental television show that no one else seemed to know about. It was called Witch. And oh my god, It was so fucking good. The second generation of the legendary Guardians of the Veil, Wilhelmina, or Will, Irma, Tirani, Cornelia, and Halen must save Planet Meridian from the evil Prince Phobos and Lord Cedric. Excuse me. Scratching my chair. When the Guardians transform, they change, form, grow wings, which help them fly. Powers that each Guardian is given is an element. So Irma is water, Tirani is fire, Cornelia is earth, Halen is air, and then Will is the guardian of the heart of Kandrakar. So it is essentially her responsibility to protect the heart because it's the source of all the Guardians' powers, and if that falls into the wrong hands, then the girls can't transform, and then it's a big old mess, and I'm sure you can assume that that's an episode or two. The show aired for about 2 seasons, and I watched all of them. And I also watched all of them recently. This show is so good. It's diverse, for one. And I'm not saying it's like heroic by any means to have an Asian character and a black character, but just the fact that this show could like be resonant for pretty much any girl, I think is nice and, more importantly, necessary in children's television, because as we know, that's like a fundamental problem, just like all around. So I think the fact that more than just like, I think an average show where there are predominantly white characters, it's more likely for someone to really like align themselves with at least one of the girls. And each girl is incredibly distinct in her personality. My favorite, who I always related to, was Irma.
I give you Cornelia. Thanks for the nose. Cornelia with the broken nose. Yes.
One, I always wanted the ability to control water. That's like hands down my top power. But Irma is also like kind of the class clown, the jokester of the group. So she was just trying to make everyone laugh, even at times that aren't very appropriate. And I could relate to that. Tirani is incredibly smart. She's always kind of coming up with the solution very naturally. Cornelia is like the pretty popular girl, but then like she also kind of breaks the typical structure of that by being a total badass. When her friends are in danger, she turns it up. Halen, she's very easygoing. She does have like a breezy demeanor to her, ha ha ha, and she is incredibly sweet and loyal. Also, her grandmother is the one who like tells them that they're meant to be the next Guardians, and her grandmother used to be the Guardian of Air, so that's cool. And then there's Will, and Will for the first like season doesn't have any powers essentially, but what I like about that is there isn't any episode dedicated to her feeling less than or inhibited by that. She knows that she's a valuable part of the team, and she doesn't need to be able to have like superpowers to be and feel valuable. And I think that's really cool, is like everybody's different, but we all need each other. What a great message. And yes, there was romance, and yes, it was cute, but honestly, the most memorable part was the powers and the outfits. So yeah, I can acknowledge that Avatar is probably a really wonderful show, but whenever I have an inkling for elemental magic, I go to w.i.t.c.h. I'm sorry. If you want to watch w.i.t.c.h, I believe the only 2 seasons are available in HD on YouTube. So I had to close the door because Stephanie was playing fetch with herself with like an old clothing tag. Our last show and our final show, I have a whole list, and honestly, we haven't even done like half of the shows that I was willing to talk about. I really hate to ask. This is why I don't think I'm meant to be a YouTuber. But if you liked this video and you want to see another one, let me know. Just don't be mean. Only be nice, please. Okay. Last show. We are now kissing jetix goodbye. I'm trying to remember where this show aired. So, the final show that I'm going to talk about that I'm very excited to talk about is a little show called Martin Mystery. For those of you, probably all, who are unfamiliar with Martin Mystery, Martin Mystery is a series that includes main characters Martin Mystery and Diana Lombard as teenage step-siblings attending Torrington Academy, a boarding school located in Quebec. They work for a secret organization known as the Center, which covertly projects the people of Earth. Oh my god, projects. This ring light is literally searing into my eyeballs. So when I look back at my screen, I just see like a green circle. Covertly protects the people of Earth from supernatural threats and investigates the unknown and the paranormal. Their allies at the center include Billy, a small green-skinned alien who is one of Martin's best friends. Fun fact, the voice actor of Martin Mystery is also the voice actor of Billy. I didn't know that until I was an adult, and now that you know that, if you go watch the show, you will so easily be able to tell. And Java, a caveman from 200,000 years ago, who works as a janitor at Torrington Academy and is the arm of the group. Trigger warning, Java is the most loving creature on the planet. So anytime in the series that he cries or gets hurt, you will want to murder whatever made him sad. I have just always started watching this show again. I would say while it's not necessarily my favorite cartoon out of all the ones that I listed, in terms of interests that I had. However, I have rewatched this show the most out of any of them. Basically, it's a master formula. You know how you watch House or Law and Order SVU and you love those shows because they basically give you exactly what you want, nothing that you're not expecting, and they just totally satisfy. The formula is they're in school, Diana and Martin have an argument because they're very competitive step-siblings, and I low-key thought that they were gonna date.
Martin, Java!
Diana! It's so good to see you, sis.
Yeah, so, anyway.
I don't know, some moments it gives Life with Derek vibes.
Derek, you are the most annoying brother.
Step brother.
Same difference.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm not gonna lie. Martin and Diana get into a fight. It usually starts off or escalates into a bet or a dare. Then the center calls and they're like, beam, 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 beam. They enter a portal into the center. They get assigned a case. They travel all over the world, solving these supernatural cases. And they have to stop the monster. A lot of these monsters are actually based in, legitimate myth. When they're doing, a background check on, a particular monster that they're trying to fight, more often than not, it actually was, a real monster that was based in myth. A couple of them are, interpretations, and then you get to the third season, which I'm sorry is basically unwatchable. There's an evil teddy bear, but so you're learning about monsters as you're watching. One thing I will say about this show is it's actually scary. The animation is definitely inspired by anime or is directly anime. I just don't know for sure because it's originally a French comic series that it's inspired by. The monsters are actually really creepy and scary, and Martin, Diana, and Java get levitated, they get possessed. There's one episode where Diana gets possessed in this haunted manor, and then she literally does the Exorcist head spin. I remember as a tot, just the way that they designed illustrated these creatures is super creepy. Definitely didn't really get less creepy when I watched it at 23 years old, but that was one of the reasons why I kept coming back to it. The show really did scare me, and I did have trouble falling asleep for a big portion of my childhood because of the various monsters from this series, but I loved it. And that's definitely what I think spiked my love for horror is even when I'm terrified and I feel like I can't look, I have to keep coming back. And I think that's for me, my essence of why I love horror. I love being scared. I love being scared in a controlled environment that challenges my anxiety. And Martin Mystery was really the first show to do that because I grew up in a strict family. I wasn't allowed to watch horror movies. I was allowed to watch PG-13 movies once I turned 13. Really the only exposure I had to like horror or anything like dark or scary was Martin Mystery. And it fascinated me, and every time it was on, I had to watch it. One of my theories about why season 3 is so unwatchable is because it is significantly less scary than the first 2 seasons, and I think that's very intentional. I have a feeling that kids who did watch the series got so scared that to try and make the 3rd season more successful and garner more viewers, they like kind of played up the like silliness factor of it. It was way better when you were trying to spook us and scare the living daylights out of 6-year-olds. Where's that energy? And I will say, an incredible experience happened to me just a few months ago. I was on BeReal, and I have a fellow classmate from my grad school who's on BeReal. What do I see on BeReal? She's watching Martin Mystery. I text her immediately. I've hung out with this girl maybe twice in a group setting, and I have her phone number, and I text her and I go,
holy fucking shit.
We had just the most like therapeutic conversation on how amazing Martin Mystery was and how frustrating it was that nobody else has seen it, and that really laid out the groundwork for this video. If you want to watch Martin Mystery, the series is available in its entirety on YouTube for free. Those were my top 5 childhood shows that I feel like nobody knows exists. If you do know that they exist, please tell me. If you didn't know that they exist and now you do know, please tell me. If you watch them for the first time and have thoughts about them that are nice thoughts and agree with what I said, please tell me. This video was really, really fun to make. I love little strolls down memory lane. I'm such a sucker for it. I don't know if this is going to be like a regular thing. I'm a busy bee, but I definitely think that this is something that I am going to try and do more regularly because I have always loved doing it. Okay. Thanks. Bye.